And ooh, excuse me. I am Fire Lotus, and welcome back to another live Witches Chat. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can get all the notifications of when I go live. I normally go live Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday, depending on what Friday looks like. And once we get people in here, I will unreveal or reveal some of the updates that are currently going on, and then some of the hot topics that are currently being talked about right now. Um, I did not go live yesterday because the weather had me all over the place, but that's okay because I did shoot a couple of videos. I've just got to kind of edit them. There's one particular video that I will make today that I have to because I'm running out of time. Hello. Um so, yeah. There's a lot. Um really cool update though on life. I'm doing good. If you follow me on TikTok, you'd know last year, me and my partner started having transportational issues. Not due to the fact that we didn't have a car. We were using, my father-in-law's car. They were allowing us to use theirs. And then randomly, the stepmother wanted it back. So it caused a bunch of issues. Well, we got news yesterday that we officially own the car. So all the money that was raised that we have saved for that will be going to actually fix the car. Oh, don't let me interrupt you when you're speaking at the same time. No, you're good. You're good. That's how my brain works. But yeah, I mean, there's still a couple of things that we still have to do. We've got to find some cheap ass insurance, and we eventually have to get the tag in his name. But karma kind of got to her. I'm trying to watch what I say because I don't know if they'd ever see this, and I don't want to cause drama. She is a very required taste, and she worked at a gas station and has not really been taking everything that's currently going on in the world into account. And she got COVID, and apparently she's okay now. She's fully recovered, but it scared the shit out of her. And in the process of that, she realized that in order for, because she wants nothing to do with me or my partner, like at all. She doesn't even want my father-in-law and his son to have contact. So she realized the easiest way to prevent that from happening is to basically just give us the car. I mean, we've had it for the past 2 years anyways. Um, Question, do you think anyone can create a servitor? Do you know, or at least do you think that you can create one without creating visual? Yes. As long as you know the energetic aspect of creating a servitor, you don't really need to be able to visualize it as long as you're good with energy work. Um, Hands down on that one. Anyone can as long as they actually know how to do it. Um, I'm also glad that the rumor mill about Appalachian being a closed practice, hopefully that was completely squashed and put away. I also remember how I said I was actually going to make a video directly talking to that person that created the original video to start all this. After I was talking to one of my friends, I realized something. I broke a cycle yesterday. And or when that happened, I broke a cycle because almost a year to the month that the original drama that I got drug into on the app happened with this particular creator. Basically, she did the same thing. So if I would have actually mentioned her name, it would have started that same cycle. So me not mentioning her name besides the live that I did and not making a TikTok video about it, I broke that cycle. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because we have to realize how much TikTok or other apps are a part of our lives now. And I've actually had multiple people since I mentioned it message or say it in the Discord. Exactly. And I learned that because that's how that creator works. But the cool thing is I'd mentioned in my last live that I did that like I've blocked big creators, magically speaking. I blocked them and then like amazing things started happening after that. And I thought it was just me. Recently had two other people do the same thing where they blocked certain people and they realized that that person in some way shape or form was also blocking them from getting something that they'd also wanted, um which it's it's interesting because nobody's ever done a study like this. Like recently, this morning it was asked in the Discord, which I love, which was, have we heard about the moon? If y'all haven't, apparently I did just learn today it is actually not a SpaceX. Astrologers or astronauts are saying that it's not actually a SpaceX rocket. It's a rocket that China made, but it's going to crash into the moon. And the question leading up to that was like, will that change the energy? And then that one question sparked a shit ton of other questions about how nobody ever talks about how men, humans, how ourselves, how much we've changed the energy to these ancient things. What I mean by that is one of my good friends lives in the UK, and he goes to the stone circles and all those other historical places. And over the years, due to the celebrations that they have and everything like that, it basically, like, the energy has changed at this sacred monument. And it's weird to see how us as humans can actually physically change something just by being in that area. Okay, but do you know anyone who cannot do creative visualization to save their life, but have successfully created a savior? Yeah, I know plenty of people that practice magic on a regular basis and they cannot visualize shit to save their life. Normally with people like that, I suggest working with a physical object that's representing what your servitor wants to be. Whether that's a picture, whether that is an actual statue, like if you wanted to, a great start to that would find a crystal that matches with the purpose of you creating the servitor, and then try to find an animal that is shaped in that crystal or made out of that crystal in the shape of that servitor, and that will help you visually because you're actually seeing it in real life versus trying to picture something in your mind. But yeah, 100%. Also, like mojo bags. Mojo bags are the same thing. As what I mean by that is it's kind of a servitor. If you look at the meanings of it, I can rarely visualize when I try. However, it happens to me when I'm not even thinking about something. It depends with me. I have this mood which is called magic mood. I have another term for it, but it's out of the sweep series, which is mage sight. Because when I raise energy or when I meditate, my visualization skills are good depending on what I'm trying to do. Now, when I take the time out and actually get in like my mental state, my the mage sight, that magic sight, visualization is really, really good. But through everyday life, I have mixtures. I can physically visualize something, and then I can also see it as a silhouette. It's actually how I see a lot of spirits. I'll see the silhouette versus the full structure of that. Um, but with the servitors and then magic in general, there are a lot of things you can do and or use physical objects for to help you get there. But with magic sight or mage sight, I love the sound of that. It's when when you meditate. When I meditate, for one, it's like a blue tint is kind of over my eyes, and yes, I know scientifically it has to do with the sun filtering through your blood vessels. But the cool thing is, and I've not been able to find anything that actually like figure out what this is, and it's not squigglies. Before I say what I'm about to say, it's not the little squigglies that you see. I can look up into the sky, whether I'm meditating or just like right now, and I can see hundreds of thousands of tiny little dots. And depending on what I'm doing, it's like they can get they move really, really fast. I honestly, in my brain, I see it as I'm seeing the atoms and neutrons that make up the world, which is supposed to be impossible. But I can, and I've noticed that when I've meditated or when I've done something where I've raised a lot of energy, they will shift. They'll either go really, really fast or really, really slow. And that actually is what incorporated and is how I explain magic, because when I do magic, talking about the visualization things, because I can visualize when I was in school or in a place to where I wasn't around my everyday things, I would pick my favorite color, and for the people that did not know, it is like an electric green. I love deep greens and electric greens. And then I'll also visualize, you know, the filters that you have on like Twitter and shit like that, TikTok and shit, the ones that's like sparkling and it looks like a little fairy doing. I'll imagine that as my magic. So what I mean by that, even when I'm doing it here, if I'm blessing a candle, as I work with that energy, it also helps me focus in, and basically it's just like in visualizing what you're working with, your favorite color, say it's purple, imagining a purple cloud around that area. Um and again, if you can't visualize but you still want to do something like this, start getting into art. What I mean by art is there's no right or wrong way to do art. And I used to piss my art teacher off by saying that because she would teach us, like, it's got to be in the lines and it's got to be straight. And I'm like, no, art is in the eye of the beholder. Magic is too. We have to, thanks to TikTok, an amazing app, because it's brought our community together, but in the process of that, it's stuck a lot of people in boxes. I'm the same way as with me saying this, and what I mean by that is we're seeing the same ideas and the same magics, like the cord cuttings and all these things, over and over again, to the point where it's like we've gotten into our heads that there's no other way of doing it. When in reality, there are probably over 1,000 ways of doing it. And that, with me, it comes from my ADHD because my brain moves so much that I'll wind up overthinking or overlooking at something. And it actually takes somebody outside of my own brain, like my partner, to look at me and be like, wait, stop. Why don't you do this? Like, recently, this coming full moon, on top of 2 of the love spells that I've got to do, I'm doing another one. And this is the most highest commission spell I've ever done. And it was interesting because due to the fact that it's a new spell, I love creating new spells from scratch. And the reason that is because I have to think about, and it's the same way if you come to me for a consultation, I have to think about every aspect. What physical, modern day, or mundane symbols, fruits, vegetables, herbs, and shit like that, can I use to represent in the acting of spell work what I want to be the desired outcome? Hello! I'm so glad. I used to see faces in black and white when spirits connected, and as a usual face, and I can think of a better word. That's how I do. Like, there have been moments where I've seen full body apparitions. Normally I will, like, it'll startle me because I'm not used to seeing them. Okay, so you're saying that servitor creation mostly depends on energy work skills. Yes, 1,000%. What other skills do you need to have to create a servitor, and then how and why? Please explain. Okay, so for one, you've got to understand how the actual concept of the servitor works. Basically, you are creating in and itself an energetic being. Now, most servitors, and the traditional way that I understand of how to make one, is they have one task. Once they finish that task, they cease to exist. Or you can create it to where they can be fed. Depending on how you create it is depending on how you'll feed them, whether that's water, wine, 100 other things that you can do. Um, and then from there, again, it depends on the reason you're creating the servitor. You are the creator, so you also get to figure out how much it needs to be fed, when it's going to be fed. I'm pretty sure there are other magical ways of doing that, but energetic work, you're also going to have to be able to feel it, to be able to know when it's still there, when it's not still there. And that in general, I think I've covered the basis. It's just energy work and you understanding the full concept of one of these. Um, and if you will, just message me on my Facebook page and I'll try to go into more in depth because I know most of your questions around magic have been about servitors. Um, and servitors can also be worked into multiple different things. I know some shop owners that have a servitor. If somebody breaks in, basically they'll make their life a living hell. When you mean feed, if you mean giving an astral energy. It depends. I love these questions though. It depends on how you set it up. What I mean by feeding is, yes, it can be not astral energy, but it can be energy. It can be an actual physical feed, like me holding a cup in my hand, pouring water in there, or donating or dedicating a cigarette to it. For the people that smoke, you can also use that to breathe things into life. Um, you can blow smoke on sigils, runes, symbols, all different types of things to literally breathe it into life, because there are a lot of cultures that believe ganja is the breath of life. I am about to go on a slight rant about this, but it's really interesting. So we were all told, YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. So we were all told that marijuana, or THC specifically, stays in your system for 30 days after you smoked. Yes and no, but there's an interesting reason of why it does this. Okay. Um yes, you can also use tobacco for cleanse, but so all the other man-made illegal street drugs, they work themselves out of the system within 12 to 24 hours, completely out, sometimes up to 3 days. It works out of the system. Why is that? Because the body has identified that it does not belong. It is not organic to the body. So what does it do? It filters all of that out. THC, on the other hand, depending on how long it stays in your system, actually has to depend on how much body fat you have. The reason this is, THC is fat soluble. This is also why you need butter or heavy cream when you're trying to infuse things with it, because the THC cannabinoid sticks to fatty tissues. Hello. So when they say that it stays in your system for 30 days, that's not actually correct. It depends on how much you intake, how much of a user you are, and again, how much body fat percentage you have. But here's the amazing thing. The reason, and it is one of the only plants that affect us like weed does, that it actually, we have, and every living species on Earth, I don't know about insects, also have it, we have cannabinoid receptors, which means from a biological design, the hemp plant in its whole, and I do mean whole because we can use that plant, we can use every aspect of that plant. It was specifically designed for human consumption and animal consumption. That's also the difference. Animals, they can eat it and automatically get that psycho effect. We, on the other hand, in order to eat it and still get that effect, we have to chemically change its compounds by heat. And that's the process of decarbing. But it was interesting and fascinating to me because this means that marijuana was actually built for humans because we naturally have receptors in our brains for it. And now, through research and them being able to research it due to the fact that it's legal now in most states, they have actually found out that this one plant may also potentially years down the line be a full-on cure for the Pomerama, because they've learned that people that have a higher intake of cannabinoids, like me, I'm a smoker every day, we are less likely to get COVID. And if we do, it's less severe. I took care of my partner when he had it twice, and I've not received it. I've not gotten it. And we did test 2 days ago, and I also do not have any of the things that it leaves in your body. I don't have any of those either. I have another theory about that, but that'll be for a different live. But yeah, that was an interesting fact. And with that, also put crystals. Start mixing crystals in with your I'm gonna say adult time. Green time, there we go. With your green time. Do crystals, a crystal grid, and have your weed in the middle of it. I have 2 crystals that I have in my stash jar. There are really, really, if you ever want to connect to a plant energetically, try cannabis and or Delta 8 and or cannabis, CBD. Try connecting with the spirits of those plants, and then also partaking in it. Yeah, that's where my brain went to. I was like, no, adult time sounds something different, so green time. Um, Speaking of that, if you are, you should go follow my second YouTube account, which is Blazed Lotus, Blazzed. I basically review products on there. Um, but yeah, you can incorporate that into your practice. So much is not even funny. Um, Okay, now another hot conversation that is currently going on, and I'm not speaking that much on it because I am not native, which is using bones in your practice. A lot of people recently are hold that thought. Bubber's just knocked over my headphones. Please don't destroy my things. Thank you in advance. So it was brought to somebody's attention. I don't know really how it started. That certain natives hold animals to basically very sacred. So using them in your practice is technically closed because it goes with that. Now, what I'm about to say is extremely controversial, and please nobody come for me. This is one of those gray areas, and the reason I say that is the same argument that they're using for honey when the whole honey thing was closed. A single object can't be closed. Now, with that being said, can you decide not to use certain animal bones in your practice to honor the natives? Yes, but at the end of the day, we have to realize we are mixed with so many things. So my question that I actually made a video on and I asked, which was, how do you go about honoring the native ancestry that some of us have without coming across as a culture appropriating colonizer? So on that topic, do you have indigenous creators to follow to get better understanding? I do have a few, and I will make a video about it. I normally don't like talking about this, the native side, primarily because, for one, it winds up going political, and I believe that witchcraft and politics do not go hand in hand. That, and I also, because I've done my protest, I have the line 3 link in my bio, and on the day that you were supposed to wear orange, I wore orange. The reason that I have never made a video on it is because it's not my place, and let me finish before somebody says something. What I mean by it's not my place is I would rather give the platform to the natives, to the people of this culture and of these situations, to explain it 10 times better versus a white guy jumping on there and talking about it because it's also trendy and it's going to get views to my profile. I don't want to do that. I will duet and or repost their videos, but there's one native creator that I do not like and I actually have blocked. Nobody will know that because the last thing I need is for somebody to make a screenshot of this and upload it and try to cancel me on TikTok. With that being said, though, yes, I do. And then I also follow some just to follow them because I want to learn about it without coming off as being, culture appropriating. And that's what I've always suffered with as in not suffer, but I've always been conflicted about because I know that I have Cherokee on my mother and father's side. Am I claiming to be Cherokee? No, that's not what I'm saying. But that is a huge side. I used to go to Indian powwows when I was younger, and they're the most vivid. And I'm talking about I was in a stroller with a fucking pacifier. That's how young I was. And I still remember it very vividly. They're the most vivid lines in me. And I also know that I've spoken to some of my native ancestors. So it's that gray area because it's like I don't want to come in and be like, claim that I'm this native warrior or anything like. No, 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 no. I want to go and I want to learn about the culture. I want to learn the language. I want to learn what they believed because it's an aspect of me. And to kind of put that in a different way that everybody would be able to understand it better. I grew up, my father was arrested and went to jail when I was 4. So and still to this day, I have talked to him, but I've never actually seen him in person. And I spent my entire childhood idolizing and basically creating this concept of the father that I would meet. It was extremely, extremely disappointing to the point where I no longer have contact with him. But what I mean by that was there was always this longing, this not knowing this side. And I'm still going through that with my actual father's side of the family because none of them really talk to me. So I have an entire side of my blood that I have absolutely no information on because of how small-minded they are. Um, and I made a TikTok and I'm hoping I get a bunch of responses because I asked that question today. I'm like, I have Native in me. How can I go about honoring them and keeping some of their sacred practices alive without crossing that line? And a lot of people want to ask the same question, but they're so fucking afraid. Right now, we live in an environment to where if I were to accidentally say one wrong thing, or it be taken out of miscontents, I could be canceled for accidentally misspeaking on something. So that's one of the reasons with the whole Black Lives Matter and all of this, I haven't said anything because I'm supporting, but I would rather the people of that movement be able to use the platform versus me trying to make a 60-second video, trying my best to explain a situation versus letting the people that's actually experiencing it go through it. And that's one of the reasons that I always state that, like, I don't talk about politics. Because in politics, there's no right or wrong answer because it's all based on what the person believes. So that's where I stand on that. And I wish I could do more. I totally do. But I'm kind of a silent protester, if that makes any sense. But again, if you have a question about something, and this is what I've always done, when I was in the process of researching how to make mojo bags, I reached out to multiple different types of practitioner that is also part of their customs and their cultures, and I talked to them about, like, hey, how can I go about doing this to where I'm not stealing something, I'm not, participating in a closed practice, but I'm also trying to be educated. And all of them respected me more because I flat out just came out and asked. Like, I had a question, it was revolving the Day of the Dead makeup that, like, the TikTok apps and stuff like that have as the filters. And I asked somebody that was of that culture, and I was like, does this also go on under the lines of, like, culture appropriating? And they're like, no, because it's trying to honor them. And see, that's what's confusing a lot of people. There is a difference between culture appropriating and cultural appreciation. And what I mean by that is we're not even talking about a magical aspect of this. With me, I've been obsessed with Japanese culture since I was younger. So here recently, I made a video that I want to get into tea pets and tea ceremonies, but I didn't know if that was part of, like, a closed practice or anything like that. And I got a huge response back. But what I mean by that is I am doing this, and I eventually will get a tea pet and a tea set because it's a way for me to help that culture live on. And obviously, I'm going to educate myself enough to where if somebody came up and asked me something, I would be able to give them correct information on it. It's the same thing with... Nope, wrong book. There we go. It's the same thing with the Backwoods Witchcraft book. This book right here, 100% cultural appreciation. He shared these two books, and the newest one that he's coming out with later this August, he's sharing them for one to keep it... Okay, hello, welcome back. He shared this for one to make sure it did not die out, and for two, so people can also start practicing it and show appreciation for it. And that's what people online don't understand. That there is a difference of culture appropriating versus cultural appreciation. And it needs to be talked about more. But, because when it comes to, like, all the political sides with the protesting and everything, I've seen it myself, and I would never call these people out, but there are some people, they will use that situation and the publicity behind it to get views and traction on their profile, and I'm against that. I don't understand the purpose of it. Why am I going to speak on something that I don't know enough about? That's what I view on that. Um, mm. Now, you also may see a fear-mongering video about this full moon that's coming up. I've never actually I've never heard. I don't mess with the astral realm that much. So I just yes, no, I don't really know on that one. I mean, theoretically, the way that I look at magic, when you create something on the physical level, you're also creating it on the spiritual and or astral level as well, because it's just pure energy. Um, I mean, you totally could, but servitors can be used for a lot of things, though. Wards, protection, guard dogs, multiple things. Just make sure you feed it and set it up properly, right? Because a lot of people do not know servitors can go horribly wrong as well too. You gotta focus on what you're doing with that one. I've made servitors as attack dogs in a way, as if somebody were to fuck with my property, it would attack them. Actually, here recently, I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing because I believe my crazy neighbor, the one that lives in the back, is at it again with the damn cats. So, and I don't know what I'm gonna do about that one. I went to Discord and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna vent really quick. It drives me crazy. But I will be doing something. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna do something. You fuck with my cats once, shame on me. You fuck with them twice, shame on you. And the third time, no, 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 no. There was something else that I wanted to talk to y'all about. Oh, there are a couple of moon videos going on TikTok about how this upcoming full moon, due to the fact that it's in Leo and I think Sagittarius, whatever, it's going to be bad for manifesting. And fuck those videos. Fuck the fuck out of those videos. Do you know how many people have came to me and argued, oh, well, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be manifesting or doing anything magical on this eclipse because it's really, really chaotic fucking energy. Yes, Sarah, I know it's chaotic energy. That's what I thrive off of. Everybody's going to be different. Originally, when I first started practicing, you were not supposed to manifest on the full moon. No, 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 no. No. You were supposed to start your spell on the new moon. And then by the time the full moon came along, that was your spell going from 99 or like 10% to 100%. I stopped manifesting on full moons. I release full moon now, and it works so much better. Yes, exactly. Some of us thrive against. Yes. No, please don't say get a dog. My partner has been dying for a dog, and I looked at him and I'm like, no offense. If we get a dog, it's just going to be more responsibility on me. You work all day, which means I'm going to be here. I'm going to have to be the one to take it out, to walk it, and everything like that. No, what I have planned mundane wise and legally, I've already looked it up. The state of Florida does not have any lease laws and or collar laws when it comes to cats. I'm either or. I don't really have a specific path except for somebody fucks around with me or my family or friends, they're going to find out. I can heal, and at the same time, I can burn your house down while I'm also blessing you financially. But there's no leash laws or regulations out here. So for one, legally, they're in the wrong anyways. The second one, I was told that the reason they're supposedly getting my cats fixed and releasing them back onto the property, although we've not seen a single one, and the county that I live in is one of the biggest counties in Florida for dog fighting. But they've already been trespassed, so I gotta get a no trespassing sign and put up on the thing. The only problem is, what they're doing is they're trying to lure the cats up there with food, that way they're no longer on my property, it's on their property. So I haven't fully figured out what I'm going to do. I will state before I state this, I had nothing to do with it. I'm assuming it was Karma or Freya. But right as they actually stopped the process of taking my cats, both of their dogs died within a month and a half. I did not do anything. I promise you on that. Did not do anything because I was like, you know what? They've got all of them. They've got magic, but I've still got some cats, so we'll be okay. And now they're starting to shit again. So I'm going to set up a couple of things to where they're not going to be very nice. Um, Thank you. Uh, LOL, as a psychic vampire, I can agree with the moon and chaos energy in general. Yeah, I live in Florida. I'm not going to tell you what part, but yes, I live in Florida. Lived here for I think 5 years now. Possibly even 6. No, I think we're going on 5. But yeah, originally you were supposed to plant the seed on the new moon, and then it was supposed to basically be manifested by the full moon. I personally, like, I know some witches, they will actually wait for the 13th date that falls on a Wednesday in the 6th month of the year just for one moon cycle or one moon phase, and the planets devolving around that too. I don't. There are only certain spells like the honey jar or the community candles or the particular spell that I'll be doing on the full moon that I'll wait, and it's not even really for the moon in itself, but some of that lunar energy, kind of, it's for the energy in itself. But eclipses I love because it's literally fire and ice. It's literally the mixture of light and dark. And of course, back then, if you walked outside and then all of a sudden it went from being a pretty day, the birds are singing, to all of a sudden the sky just turned blood red, obviously it's going to go down in history as, oh my god, the world's ending. No. These are celestial events that, and every one of them is different. So why not take that chance and to connect with it and manifest it? It's the same thing of when Mercury goes into retrograde. We're still manifesting. We're still doing magic. It goes horribly wrong, but we're still doing magic. And to me, with some of these, they are extremely rare. Some of them can be. So definitely tap into anything astrology wise. If it's a meteorite, if it's a fucking comet, if it's a sun, something that doesn't normally happen, tap into that energy because it's not going to be around for any longer. Moon water, I don't really collect it anymore unless it has to do with an eclipse. Storm water, depending on the hurricane, I will collect, but that is not to be. Yes, I can remote view. It is called well, I call it technically second sight, but not in premonition, as in I can push my view outward outside of my own head. I've scared a bunch of people, or freaked a bunch of people out by doing that as well. And that's one of the things that I do. The reason that I found out that I had this was because when I was younger, I used to see dead people when I went to sleep every single fucking night. And I got tired of it because I was like, all right, look, obviously I can't stop you. And I mean, it's not like I can just throw a cross on the door and be like, I repel you. No, it didn't work. So I wrapped a bandana around me. And eventually I actually got a mask. And there was one night that I woke up and like I'm looking around the room, and the first thing that caught my eye was everything was black and white. Like I could not see color. And I'm like, wait, my eyes are closed. And I reached up and I still had the mask on. Probably, shit, 8, 9 years later, thanks to an Instagram post, I actually found out that it's considered second sight. It's bilingual. I would love to get some hurricane water. Oh, the power that would hold. But yes, I can remote view, and I've also been slowly practicing. But yes, with the hurricane water, um, say for example, you were to locate a pet, you could find out the exact street it's on. Possibly. I'm not that good at being it, but I would be able to, as long as I would be able to connect, I would be able to see certain things around it. I've never tried actually trying to find a lost item or anything like that. Um, you did just help me come up with an exercise now. But yes, that's technically how it would work. With hurricane water and story time. Um, for one, we gotta think of a hurricane, right? Basically, it is a living, breathing entity. And either meteorologists have even said it too. Like they're something of themselves. They're smart, right? So what were to happen if I were to try to bottle lightning? I'd be able to get it in the bottle, but not for long. So the story time is I had discovered and found out what hurricane water was, and we were about to be hit with Hurricane Durin. We did get hit with Hurricane Durin. So I collected some of that rainwater. That's literally the only thing we got from that was rainwater. And you can use them in hexes and curses, obviously, but you can also use them in bath purifications and cleansings. Because, I mean, think about it. You literally have the force of a hurricane cleansing you. The problem was I didn't set my intentions right enough. What I mean by that was I did not specifically, because with me in my practice, I will also mentally say it, but I will also verbally state it in a very, very strict, like military side, which I don't even have military in me. But you know what I mean? Almost like that dad or mom voice. And state what I wanted, which was to cleanse. It was incredible because you know how you can stick a shell up to your ear and you hear that in your head? I poured a little bit into my bath water, mixed a couple of herbs in it, and when I submerged myself, I could literally feel and almost hear, like you could hear it. It was like a rumbling. And I was like, okay, great. And I felt it. As soon as I submerged my body in that water, I felt all of those connections that I did not want just washed the fuck away, right? I did not do it right because that following morning at 3 a.m., me and my partner were startled awake. And I mean, I jumped a foot in the bed, came up about a foot because we heard a sonic boom. And as soon as I came awake, instant fear and anxiety had hit. I freaked the fuck out. And about the time as my partner was like, what the fuck was that? The power goes out. And about the time the power goes out, I walk in here and I look out the window and I hear it. And it basically it sounds like if you've ever lived in a trailer, it sounds like somebody but 1,000 hands are outside beating on the trailer. And about the time I got to the fucking like through there and into the bedroom, I looked at my partner. I was like, "We have to get somewhere. We're about to be hit with a tornado." And he's like, "How do you know?" And about the time I said that, it had actually hit. So we go back to the bathroom, the only place that we could, and we get into the bathtub. About the time we squat down, we also realize that if we fully get hit, we're about to be fucked. Like we're fucked. It stopped. We didn't know the damage. We had to wait until the fucking lights came on, or the sun came up. We, our property was lucky. We got some roof damage, and then the two trees next to us, the tops of them basically got ripped out. Our outhouse, the small little outhouse that we had outside, also got demolished. But a branch missed our house literally by probably, I want to say 3 feet. If it would have swung just slightly closer, it would have came through the window that our bedroom is in where we were sleeping at. In fact, interesting fact, that tree, the one that was ripped off, is also the tree that I work with my ancestors with. So besides that, having limbs down and all the screens on our porch being blown out, that was the only damage we got. Our next door neighbor, they didn't really get that much damage, but all the neighbors on that side, they got extreme fucking danger. Damage. I'm talking the trees were ripped up, destroyed. It was bad. Um, and we don't know what it was because I was watching the storm system when they were live on air, and I told them that we had just got hit and they did not see anything on their radar. So we don't know what it was. My partner thinks it was straight line winds. I think it was a mixture of straight line winds mixed with possibly a microburst. The reason that is because I'm from Alabama. We have tornado drills all the fucking time. I've been in multiple tornadoes. There's one distinct thing that tornadoes will do to a pine tree, and that is basically stretch and bend those fuckers like this. 3 of the pine trees that were in her yard were split and ripped apart like you would see in a tornado. So yeah, if you do collect hurricane water, be extremely careful while using it. It will fuck somebody's world up though. Do not get me wrong. And I still have 2.5 bottles of that stuff here. Um, and the next time I do a cleansing bath, I plan on using it. Just it's gonna be way before hurricane season. Probably the next time a cold front moves through, possibly. But yeah, things like that. If you live in like Texas, places where they get droughts, the first rain that relieves that drought, save that. Why? If you're having a drought financially, use that water and boom. I also like to enchant the rain. I don't know if this really works, but it's something I do, which is if I want it to rain, I'll make a lineup or kind of a little charm of like, bring the winds of change and bring the nourishing thirst for your garden, aka the world. If it's a rainy day, if it's a windy day, go outside. If you've got a lot of like shit going on, go outside and stand in the rain and imagine the wind just blowing it all off of you. Is it actually going to blow your problems away? No, but it will relieve some of that energy that you're going through. Another cool meditating trick that I used to do, try to um create a playlist. I used to listen to Evanescence, and especially during the fall, it worked perfect. But instead of meditating like most people think or being in the mind state, the mental state, just go outside when it's windy, possibly stormy, like today here where we have a huge overcast, and just focus it on the music and the environment around you. And basically put yourself in a position to where you feel the music and try to see if you can get that to replicate around you. What I mean by that is almost like you're in a music video. There's cloud busting, which does work. It's really fun too. On a cloudy day, go outside and stare at a cloud and basically picture it disintegrating. And if you do it enough, you will actually literally see them in front of your eyes go poof. But yeah, like these are things that a lot of people don't talk about that can be very magical. Um, what else is there? Obviously we have the snow. Hell, collect hell, put it in your freezer and freeze it. You can use that in spells. Um, there are so many things that people can use. Also, I wanted to talk about it. Fairies are not, excuse me, fairies are not all bad and evil. I did a video about like, when's the last time you fed your house fairy or a brownie? And the amount of people that were like, "Oh no, they're gonna harm." No, they're not. They will let you know what they want from you, but they can't assist you in spells. They can assist you with your plants. They can do a lot of things. And if you do piss them off, give them an offering. Just do not say thank you. Do not thank them. They find it insulting. And I do not know where this came from, but I've always been told never give them chocolate. I don't know why, but never give them chocolate. Milk, cream, honey, um, crackers, bread, sweet things, shiny things. They're like magpies. They love to collect shiny things. Trinkets, little bells, everything like that. Do it. You want a kid's product or a project to do with you and your kids? Go to Dollar General and get the like little candle holder dishes that are glass and they're tiny and small. Get those. Also, while you're there, unless you can walk outside and get some fresh stuff, get some of the moss that they have, and then you're gonna need glitter, dried flowers, and musk, or very very earthy smells. Right. So you're gonna get those earthy incense, and you're going to break about the stick, grind it down into a powder, and mix the dried flowers and glitter in with this. What you just created is pixie dust and/or fairy dust. So the reason you did this is because for one, fairies like shiny things. For two, fairies also love earth. They love earthy smells, musky smells with that flower. Honestly, if I could have like the way it smells, I originally used sandalwood with I think it was black opiate. Mix those together with the dried flowers, and then what you do from then, you get the glass, the little plate, and you put the moss on there and create a landing pad. Originally you would get a pink candle, tea light candle, hollow out the middle a little bit, and put that pixie dust in there, and then burn it to summon it. Or to summon your fairy godmother. This is from a wish spell that I found. Um, but it was a fairy godmother wish spell actually. But the basis of that can still be used. So create you a couple of fairy landing pads. And if you want to, you can do something like we do with like people do with Elf on the Shelf for the kids. Like put stuff on there at nighttime and then get your kids excited to see if they've left them any things. And then like I said, crystals, rocks, small little jewelry, things like that they'll love. And just do that and then make another one for their offerings. So like say your kid has a test. Get your kid before I say this, I'm not saying get your kid to make a deal with them. But if you want them to assist you in something, say one of your kids has a fucking exam or test, right? Just go up, leave your offering, and then state what you would assist on or what you need assistance with, maybe to get a good grade. And then, they'll wind up coming in and assisting. For one, it's a great way to introduce kids to magic, but it's also a cool little thing that you can do. I've done it a lot. I work with the Fae, as in I have let them assist me in things, because they have a choice. Like, obviously they have a choice. Now with that being said, can you piss them off? Yes. Will they curse your family? No. More than likely, you'll start having shit disappear. Basically, you'll sit it down and literally you'll look away and you'll look back and it'll be gone. If that happens, leave an offering. And or leave them a sugar bowl. They love sugar. Cube sugars they also love. But these are fun things, and the reason I'm saying it's fun is because spring's about to go. Our spring's about to come. So this is a perfect time to get everybody excited about spring, especially if you already create like a little fairy garden. Create a small place out in your yard, or if you have an apartment, get like 2 big planters and use those as your fairy place. But it's 2 cool things, but there are negative fae out there. Obviously, there are negative land spirits out there too, but you'll understand that. You'll feel that energy. And like it was said in my comments, they'll let you know what they want. They're just like working with deities. I don't know where this fear-mongering came from. Now, obviously, with that being said, should you make a deal with them? No. Should you accept gifts from them? I have. And secondly, how do we know it's from the Fae? An example, I randomly went to Dollar General, and as I got out of my car and walked into the store, there was a perfectly preserved, and I still have it, a perfectly preserved, gorgeous butterfly just laying there. Now, the odds of somebody stepping on that or kicking it out of the way, considering it was Dollar General and they were busy, versus me going up there and boom. And the reason that I stated that I had to do something with fairies, because I was talking to my partner about fairies shortly before that and on the way there. If I were to post that video, I think I did make a video of it, a lot of people would have been like, oh, no, that's a gift from the Fae. How do you know that? If you walk outside and see a bird feather or this random stick that looks like a rune, how do you know it's from the Fae? How do you not know it's from your land spirits? How do you not know it's from your deity? Why does everything have to be about the Fae? With that also being said, don't go wandering into some misty, wooded area, obviously. And, well, when it comes to a fairy circle, you do you. I've actually had a circle that I put in after the fairy circle of mushrooms was created, and I practiced magic in there and never had a single issue. So, I'd lived with the place. Our roommate was a fucking grumpy ass gnome. The old practitioner that we used to live with, there was a stump in the backyard of this like really, really old fucking oak tree, I think. I think it was an oak tree. And the landlord had like ran over it and basically destroyed it except for one piece. So that one piece was the room that we were staying in had a door that you could walk out to this little like porch. It was there. So when we moved in, I told Mr. Gnome, is what I called him, that I would give him a beer every full moon. There was one that I forgot. And so much shit started disappearing from my magic place. And take in mind, me and my partner were living in a one bedroom. Like it wasn't like we had our stuff strewn all over the house. No, it was just one bedroom. My partner helped me realize that I did not leave out that beer, so I gave him 2. About 2 days later, I had, I think it was in the closet. I'd found the objects that were all missing in one location, and it was very weird because cats don't really do that. Well, they can, but anyways. So yeah, if you feel uncomfortable working with the Fae, then by all means don't. But if you're uncomfortable with working with the Fae because of what you heard online, do it. I mean, I'm here. I've not been carried off. I wish I would be carried off by the Fae. But in general, there's so much fear-mongering going on when it comes to these things, and what they don't understand is they're preventing people from possibly going to your full potential. So one of the reasons I tell people don't listen to people online when they're like, you need to do shadow work. If you saw this video, it's for you. No. You will know what you need to do in your personal journey yourself. You do not need somebody else telling you that. And if anything, do you know how many people are not going to tap into their full potentials due to the fact that they were stirred away or stirred in a different direction by somebody else online? Which is one of the reasons I try to tell people, like, I'm not telling you how to do it. Here's some advice. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. But yes, I think that's going to be it for today. I've got to eat, and then I've got to do that prayer video, and hopefully be able to get that uploaded without all hell breaking loose. With that being said, I do have a small unboxing Friday. It's just a necklace that I replaced. My mom played with them as a child, and I also played with them in land spirits all the time. Exactly, I played with them when I was younger. I may have played with land spirits. I'm not for sure on that one. But they're, again, you will know if you come across one that is quote unquote negative. Trust me, you will know. But yeah, that being said, that's going to be it. And for anybody who replays this, I'm still offering oracle readings. Still doing custom spell work. I will be having 2 new spells being added to it very soon. What was I about to say? The honey jar, and for everybody who is included in it this month. And if you haven't, you still have time. It will also be made on the 17th. Everything will be charged on the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th. Basically the 3 nights of the moon. And then I know I was supposed to do a community candle this month. This month's been busy, so I'm going to do one for next month. I would put huge quartz and find around the tree to protect the tree spirits. Oh, I love that. I love that. But yeah, that's going to happen. There was something else I wanted to say. I have been messaging people for the podcast episodes. It's just energies all over the place. But yes, I do plan on doing those. I will be getting the oil for the oil videos that I've been talking about for over 2 months this weekend. I'm also extremely excited about that. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Oh yeah, I do have all of the creepy musical video things that I was talking about that I create. I do have them. There's 2 more that I've got to upload, and then I'm hopefully either going to all do them in videos or shorts. So check them out. And yeah, until then, thank y'all so much for joining me on this Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. Yes, it is Tuesday. Okay. So yeah, until then, I will talk and see y'all tomorrow. Peace.